started out kind of nice. I know you don't care about the freaking weather, but yeah, the weather started out like a good day. It had a lot of promise. Now it's getting dark out there. And I don't know what the heck is going on. But thank you for actually showing up to my live stream. Today, we are talking about, I'm going to say, the illusion. Okay, that's kind of like one of the favorite things I like talking about, the illusion. Many people find themselves stuck in narcissistic relationships because at the end of the day, they just refuse to give up the illusion. Um, and I think it's hard. I think it really is hard to give up the illusion after being in a situationship with someone for a long period of time. You're kind of hoping that they feel the same way you do. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for the likes. Imam, thank you very much. Star, thank you for joining. Yeah, and I really want you guys questions. The last time I was live, in fact, I'm going to start going live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. I think that's a comfortable time for me. And I think, just from the people that have been showing up, it's a comfortable time for everybody else. So please feel free Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, the illusion is the hardest part of this, is letting go of the illusion. Let's look at it like this. Let's just break it down into easy, I guess, digestible chunks. You've been in a situationship with someone and you have been bending over backwards. You've been confused about where the relationship is going, the status of the relationship, if the relationship can be maintained. Um, you, being the empath, have been actually bending over backwards. Hey, Lady Felicia, bending over backwards, trying to salvage this relationship. So what many survivors find themselves doing is they find themselves not focusing on the problem, not focusing on the disrespect, not focusing on the isolation, just the that shit rude treatment. They find themselves focusing on fixing it because they are stuck in an illusion, a vicious cycle, a vicious loop. The illusion was created on purpose. Whenever you deal with a narcissist goes out of their way to, I guess, plant the seeds of that illusion. So, my question today is, who finds themselves in a committed, what they think is a loving, caring relationship? Because that's how you feel when you're in a narcissistic dynamic. For some strange reason, we actually feel as if this is a loving, normal relationship, but it's not. It's not. Okay. So who feels confused in their main situationship? You're looking at your partner and you're like, what the F is wrong with you? Why do you act this way? Why are you hot and cold some days? Has anybody ever felt that way within their relationship? And you have to be honest with yourself, because believe it or not, that is the first stage towards breaking free from the trauma bond. You that is like one of the first things that you have to come to grips with. And that's why I talk about it so much, because I can talk about all the other stages, but the two most important stages, if you're serious about breaking free from a trauma bond, is you have to realize a couple of things. The first thing is you have to actually realize that you need to understand what the hell is going on. You need to gain some kind of clarity. That's the first step before you do anything else. The second step is admitting to yourself that none of this was real. And I understand, I've gone through it. I understand that part hurts. That part hurts because you've given so much of yourself to this person. As human beings, we want to think that the time investment meant that, hey, listen, I gave my time. The one thing we never get back. Uh, Imagine someone recounts your sins and you can't even listen to them. I don't know where you're going with that. I'm sorry, but thank you for the comment. It hurts you so much to remember your sins and crimes. Well, I don't think, if we're still on the subject of narcissistic abuse, the narcissist doesn't reflect on their sins. They don't reflect on the fact that they've hurt another human being, much less a human being that actually said that they loved them. and that they love back. They don't recount their sins. They don't. Okay, I don't even know how that got through, but okay. Um, but yeah, we find ourselves believing in this person, and we believed in this person for a long time. And now you want me to make videos on? Okay, I don't know. The room is kind of crazy today, but it's kind of fun. Thank you for the comments. I guess these kind of comments are better than no comments, so I appreciate you. Um, yeah, that hurts. To spend years with someone and then finding out at the very end, once you put a name to the dynamic, once you are able to put a name to what's hurting you and say, okay, this is NPD or this is narcissistic abuse, or at the bare minimum, this is a toxic relationship that I need to get free from. This is something that's toxic. You know, Not only is that so important, but then it comes to the point of like reflecting, and coming to grips with the reality of this person never cared about me. This person really, literally intended to destroy me from the first word that was actually, spoken between us, and that hurts. That hurts as a human being. That hurts, and what we have to do is, and this is why I put this in my course, and I'm not trying to push the course, but I thought those were two important things to talk about. There, I don't know where this guy, what climatic ass piece and guys, can we just slow down a little bit? I don't, I appreciate the questions. I appreciate you joining me, but you know, because I think even looking at these comments, this is sometimes the feelings that we have. I think this person started off with repenting of sins, admitting that you did somebody wrong. That's another thing that Big Shauna family, thank you for joining. That's something that we hold on to because we think that we're dealing with a regular human being that would reflect, that would actually understand that they hurt us. They made us feel a certain way. They made us feel less than ourselves. And the narcissist is never going to do that. They're not. What keep teaching, ignoring them negative. Yeah, that's what I try to do. That's what I try to do. But you know how it goes on TikTok. A comment's a comment. It actually pushes the algorithm to push this out to more people, thereby getting to the people that actually need to hear this. So yeah, and just give me 1 second, cause someone has to go. Do 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 do. Okay, now we can move forward. I feel better now. You know. So yeah, I mean a lot of it comes from taking accountability, and I have to be honest because taking I know you got so used to a narcissist never taking accountability, and near the end of the relationship, it happens to everybody. You start to mirror some of their negative vibes, their negative energy that they put out. You start to adopt some of that. And sometimes I found myself where I started that whole no, it's not my fault. It has to be somebody else's fault because I had been dealing with that dynamic for so long that I started to adapt it into my being. And I've never been that person. I've always taken, hey Stephanie, how you doing? Stephanie, I'm sorry. Thank you for joining me, Stephanie Davis. Um, I've always taken responsibility for my actions. One of the things that I've always believed in before I got in this dynamic was no matter how it went wrong, if it affected me, I had to play some part in it. By the end of the relationship, I was like them blaming everybody else. I didn't feel like myself. And this is what changes the playing field for people that just want to get out the trauma bond and people that understand that they need to get out the trauma bond. That thing being, you have to take responsibility for your feelings and your emotions. Because you love the narcissist, that wasn't the wrong thing to do. Okay, I know you're kicking yourself and you're knocking yourself silly. Why did I fall in love with this person? Why did I give so much into this relationship? And I get it, it hurts. But see, the difference is your feelings, your emotions were real. Okay, they were authentic. They were you. It was essentially you. You're not responsible. Let me say this again. You're not responsible for someone else's actions. You're only responsible for your own. Okay? So when you come to grips with that, that's why that's one of the top three modules. Once you come into grips with this has been an illusion, I did what I felt was right, but this person is never going to love me. What that does is, hey, hello, hello, how you doing? And Pearl, thank you for joining. Can you date someone that has nothing in common like hobbies? He has a great personality. I don't think, I think, to be completely honest with you, I think for the fact that they're not trying to push the narrative that they like all the things that you like, I think that's kind of not a red flag. See, the narcissist will mirror you. So you'll see, and any survivor will tell you this. In the very beginning, while the love bombing was going on and the mirroring was going on, it would seem like the narcissist loves everything that you do because they need to drop your guard. They need you to feel as if you are looking at yourself. So once you get into that mindset, you really don't see a threat. He wants to give it a try, even though we have nothing in common. Everybody's different, but after the shit show that I just went through with my narcissist, I actually want people that don't have the same interests. Some things are kind of cool. It's kind of cool to have some things in common and some things you can do together and you can both gain enjoyment from. Sometimes that's cool. But I think I'm at the stage in my life where that kind of throws up a red flag. If you're that person that does everything that I do and have been doing everything that I've done for years, yet and still, if I dig deeper, you either take offense or you actually don't let me know that you know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, those people I tend to stay away from, because I just get reminded of the love bombing, the mirroring. Anybody that tells me that, oh yeah, I've been doing that for years, and then I say, oh yeah, what part of that do you like? And they can't give me a relevant, intelligent answer. It's like, oh, you are literally trying to mirror me to make me feel comfortable. So that kind of ends the conversation. But I think variety, as they say, is the spice of life. Maybe that person can learn something from you. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that, Rachel. Yeah, thank you. You know, but yeah, no, that wasn't even Rachel AD. That was I can't even see the name, but thank you for following me. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. But yeah, variety is the spice of life. I think it's a beautiful thing when you can learn something from each other. I think that kind of strengthens the relationship. I think that makes the relationship and the bond stronger. If you have someone that's teaching you something and you're open and receptive to that, I think that makes the relationship grow a little bit, because they're learning from you and you're learning from them. As long as it's not one sided, you've got to do everything that I do, or I'm going to just tell you that I do everything that you do so that you become more comfortable with me. And I'm glad you brought that up because in the beginning, and this is where you have to actually take accountability. I always say this: there was always that little feeling, hey Kim, how you doing? I'm not really interested in this hobbies. You don't know until you try. And I'm not telling you what to do with your romantic life. I'm not. I'm not. I don't. I wouldn't even have the right to tell you that. But there's a lot of things that I was never interested in, and due to a certain person that came into my life, I became interested in. Most of the things that we do now, we were actually introduced to. Nobody comes out the womb knowing how to do all the things that they love. We usually pick them up along the way. Um, yeah, there's not. I mean, when even if it comes down to food, except for dietary restrictions or as far as allergies or religious beliefs, I'm always game to try something new. I may like it, I might not like it. So it's up to you. If you're willing to give it a try, if you and this person build somewhat of a bond, it might be conducive to the growth of the relationship if you just go ahead and give it a try. You can always say no. I don't like this. What the hell are you doing here? I don't like this. This is not me. And we're allowed to do that. And I think that, and let me just segue a little bit. I think that's what happens when you're in a narcissistic relationship. You lose little pieces of yourself along the way. You start giving up the things that you love because it always causes an argument. It always causes conflict. And on top of that, they're not going to support you because, hey, Jess, thank you. Thank you for joining in and raise the vibe. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But yeah, when you're in a narcissistic relationship, and this is another thing you have to admit to yourself, why did you give up doing the things that you used to love before you met this person? Let's be honest here. Why do we give up those things that used to bring us joy and happiness? Nobody ever thinks about that because you walk into the relationship, you love doing this thing. Before this person even existed, this is what you'd wake up in the morning, you'd study stuff about it, you would practice it, you love doing it. But during the course of that relationship, hey Storm, thank you for joining. Exactly why did I allow my joy to be taken? Yes, Pete. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because you're trying to keep the peace. We don't even notice it while we're in that dynamic. We are going out of our way trying to keep the peace. Most empaths, and this is not just speaking from me, it's just like other people that I consider empaths that I know, they really don't like the constant drama and chaos. They don't. The narcissist finds a way to introduce chaos into our lives. They introduce it into our lives, and it's like we just wait. That's what the term comes, walking on eggshells, because that's what you're literally doing. It's just like you're just waiting for the next shit show. You wait. I gotta stop cursing. You're waiting for the next blowout. You're waiting for you to breathe too hard. Yeah, so yeah, what we do, yes, Jess, you're right. Every little thing. And we go out of our way to keep the peace because we don't want to deal with it. And sometimes those things you'll notice very early on in the relationship after the love bombing stage that anything that even looks like confidence or success, they will attack. Because this is part of the illusion. They don't have confidence in success. It's all an act. Like I said, it's an illusion. Hey, Kimberly, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. It's literally an illusion. Okay, they try to force this narrative on everybody around them. Yeah, I'm confident. I'm successful. I make it happen. But deep down inside, they know that's not them. So you, being the person that actually cares about them, that since you think, and this is the really crazy part of it, since you think that you're in a loving, fulfilling relationship, you're sharing your wins with that person. You're sharing your successes with that person because if you look at it like me, hey, boo-boo, when I win, we win. When I get to the next level, we get to the next level. But they're not thinking like that. All they're thinking, every time you have a little bit of success, and I mean literally a little bit of success, or you show a little bit of confidence, or your confidence is starting to come back, the reason why they must strike it down is because by you existing in that light, you are creating a narcissistic injury. Hey, Lumpy Space, Pre, thank you for joining. I've been told I think I'm better. I feel, and that's from user, bunch of numbers, and don't stop believing. I feel like we're wasting each other's time. There's nothing in common there. Well, again, every dynamic is different. I think what I'm talking to is something that I really, really understand is narcissistic abuse and breaking free from the trauma. So, with that being said, I definitely appreciate those comments, but we haven't even gotten to the stage where we can even think this is narcissistic abuse. Then breaks down and yeah, shit show. It does because once you bring to their attention that you think you're dealing with another rational human being. So in most relationships, if you tell your partner that, hey, listen, by you saying that, you're hurting me, you're making me feel bad. If your partner is stable and doesn't have NPD, what will happen is that will probably start a conversation. That will probably gain an apology. That will probably get your partner to say, I'll never do that again. I'm sorry. My intent was not to hurt you. You'll never get that from the narcissist. Because as far as they're concerned, by you winning, by you being successful, you wasn't doing it for the team. You were showing them that you could do something that they can't. So that causes an injury to them. You know, I you get a promotion, you come home, you get a raise, you come home. You're sharing this with your partner and you're getting like ho hum responses, almost as if they're trying to minimize what you did. And yeah, people get promotions and raises every day of the week. Probably if we look at it, every 2 hours, there's somebody getting a raise or promotion. Okay? So yeah, other people do it. However, you have accomplished something. And what we tend to do is we go back to the people that we care about and we tell them that, hey, listen, hey, dark chocolate, we tell them, listen, I did something really cool today and it's going to get us to the next level. And you probably come in the house saying, oh my God, it's happened. I got the promotion. They've made me an executive director. The sky is the limit. Hey, and maybe next year I'll make director. So you're happy, you're overjoyed, but you're not met with that because your success is a threat to them. And this is and almost all the way till the end before we get out of that relationship, we continue to do the same thing. We continue to share this good news with, and we become confused because we're like, why isn't this person happy? Why isn't this person celebrating with me? Why is this person acting so distant? And there's always a litmus to gauge things. I'm a firm believer in that. There's always a litmus to gauge things. When you're suffering with something, when you're trying to figure something out, when maybe you get passed over for a promotion, maybe you get passed over for a raise, for some strange reason, they're right there. And you get this strange, confusing feeling like, why do they seem happy about this? Because once again, that's the flip side of the coin. Now you're not causing a narcissistic injury. What you're doing is you're feeding off of that narcissistic personality disorder. But thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're dealing with that NPD and they're saying, see, I'm superior to you. They might not even have a job. They might have a basic job, so they're not concerned with what you're doing. And thank you so much, Kelsey, for following me. I appreciate you. They're not trying. You'll find that most narcissists, again, you will find, and this is not me talking, this is mental health professionals. Okay. What you'll find with most people with NPD is they really have no goals, no desires, no dreams. Okay. Because they feel entitled. So to them, a dream means I deserve this, therefore I don't have to work for it. I don't have to do anything for it. It should just come to me because I'm who I am. They start a job, they get upset at other people that move through the ranks, even though by default, everybody looking at them like, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything to show that you're dedicated to this job. Or if they're running a business, to show that you're dedicated to this business. You're not doing anything. And you just expect it to happen. So, in a sense, and one of the things that we find with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, is they are jealous of everyone. No, I'm not trying to be shady here. This is actually in the DSM-5. They are jealous and envious of everyone because in their batshit crazy mind, they literally, and I'm not making this up and I'm not expanding on it, they literally think everyone feels the same way that they do. Honestly. In their mind, the little hamsters is going around in their brain. Stephanie Davis. Hey, Stephanie Davis, thank you for the statement. I've been with a narcissist for 20 years, 29 years, and didn't even realize that's what it was. Yeah. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, and see, that's the thing with empaths. We get trapped, and I don't know if you're ready to say this, but do you think you tried too hard? That's why it went on for so long? I mean, only you can answer that. You know, do you think that because you tried too hard? That's why I tell people you've got to get rid of the hope because it's not going to change. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you. It's not going to change. No matter how much you hope, I get it. I get it. As an empath, we've been doing the hope and the potential thing all our life with jobs, with school, with everybody. Because we find out that we put in the effort and that if we hope it's like I'm going to start this thing, I'm going to start this business, I'm going to write this book, even though I have no clue what I'm doing, I can make it happen. So we have hope and potential for ourselves. And definitely you should have that feeling of hope and potential for yourself. But once you outsource that to another person, I literally just asked my sister, how can her husband be jealous and competitive in every way? Well, this is the thing. Every time, and I just said this, and thank you for stating that. Like I just said, it causes them an injury. These people think that they are superior to everyone. Okay, they literally believe this. Not me talking. Go look it up in the freaking DSM-5. Okay, which I didn't write. Okay, they really think they are superior to everyone in their life. So when, hey, Alicia Costanza, thank you for joining. So when you do anything, it does become a competition because you're causing an injury and they have to punish you by proving that whatever you can do, my favorite song from the Alcoholics from way back in the day, anything you can do, I can do better. That's what runs through their mind. Okay? And they know this is the thing. They know this is running through their mind. They don't even try to put a pause in it. They just keep it going. They do. They're happy with those thoughts because, like I said, just to get back to the criterion number 8 in the DSM-5, they're jealous and envious of everyone, and they believe everyone is jealous and envious of them. So thereby, in their mind, they're just getting ahead of the curve. So if you're doing something, you're doing that because you're jealous of what they can do. Does it make sense? You know, everything in an entire relationship is a competition, 100% fact. And that's what makes the relationship hard. Because you don't, you know, you see, to me, a relationship, and this is just me thinking outside of my head, a relationship is where two people are supportive of each other. They want to see each other grow. Because again, you look at the return on investment. If you're growing, I'm growing. If we're growing together, we grow together, not the narcissist. The narcissist can't think that way. That's why I tell people let go of the ghost. Okay, they can't think that way. Again, not me talking. Go look it up. It's not me talking. And hey, Mystic, I hope I'm pronouncing it 1016. Thank you. Yeah, Jess. I mean, that is one of the hardest things. This is when you start coming out of the fog. When you start saying to yourself, why do I feel like I'm in the Super Bowl against, my nemesis? Why do you feel that way? Why do you feel like you're Thanos fighting the Avengers? And I did do that backwards on purpose because I actually grew up liking Thanos. But why did a relationship shouldn't feel this way? And this is what brings forth the confusion. Just told me that I couldn't run my ranch without him, which I did. Oh my God, thank you. You said that. Which you ran your ranch before them. Why does the narcissist come into our lives and think that we didn't exist before they came there? This is that arrogance in them. This is their feelings of superiority. They come in a relationship, in the middle of a relationship, they're telling us that we couldn't do anything without them. And at the end of the relationship, they tell us in however way, you'll be nothing without me. Yet and still, I existed and took in oxygen before I even knew that you existed. Isn't that crazy? Should I forget about covert, nice, narcissistic guys? Did you forget about them? If you and I'm asking that question, if you like pain, narcissists follow a cycle. The cycle is the same. There's only a couple of things that changes, maybe three. Okay, that is the face changes. That's the new person. The location. They're not with you anymore, or they're not living with you anymore, and the time period. Because it all depends on how much they can drain that person. See, a mosquito ain't going to leave you because mosquitoes are stupid, right? They sit there until the bitter end, until you smack them. Okay? That's what they do. The narcissist does the same thing. They will drain you until you get clarity and decide to move on. I'm trying to catch. Should I forget it? Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, why not? Because the relationship has an expiration date you just don't know about. As soon as they get you hooked, as soon as you feel that I found my soulmate, that feeling that you get when you run into a narcissist, this is the one. As soon as you lock onto that, hey, Morningstar, hey, thanks for joining. As soon and Vertigo 1, as soon as you lock onto that thought pattern, the clock starts ticking. Hey, Lady Trucker 44, thank you for the follow. If they give you anything, it will never be yours. Well, here's the deal. Everything, narcissists, and many people don't understand this, and I've been talking about this a lot because they don't understand it. Oh, thank you very much for the gift, Lady Trucker. Yeah, narcissist. Here's one thing that you really need to understand. Everything a narcissist does is transactional. That's it. It is transactional. It is the same level as when you walk into your convenience store, take off something off of the shelf that you actually need, pay for it, walk out the store. That's how narcissists think about each and every person. They have made up in their mind every person they come in contact with that they have a somewhat extended interaction with. They have put in their head, they have created like a stick figure. And in the back of their mind, that this person needs to do this person needs to do this person will serve this purpose. I will allow this person to do this for me. This person needs to admire me. And then they stick it on that stick figure. That is you. You're now a construct in the narcissist's mind. And every time you move away from the script that they set out for you, they've got to punish you because they're superior. They can't be wrong about the person that you are. Hey, Watcher and Rising, Queen Stitch, thank you for joining. Butt Rock McClip, thank you for joining. Yeah, so, don't get it twisted. Again, you have to let go of the ghost that you're dealing with a normal person. This person has a disorder, okay? And he makes up new rules to benefit him, to do things for him that I didn't sign up for. Well, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't realize that this dynamic that you just explained, Jess, actually goes on in the workplace when you think about it. But we don't look at it as narcissistic abuse, but it is. Always moving the goalpost. Who's had a job like that? Well, your boss, no matter what you do, they're moving the goalpost. My daughter gave me a full rundown on how his birthday would go. She knows his pattern. Yeah. So, yes, must admire them. I don't admire them, narcissists. I don't. Once I got clarity, once I began to understand what I was dealing with, I was disgusted. If you admire them for the fact that they've been running this long con throughout the ages, I guess I can sign off on that. But in order for them to run this long con, they've got to hurt people. They actually literally have to hurt people, and it's usually the empaths that get hurt because we try the hardest, we hold on the longest, even though we know it's destroying us. Even though, it's like I'm not a big fan of Titanic. I'm not. Yes, I'm disgusted for the fact he expects me to give hugs and say positive things towards him. And I'm going to tell you, this is I would assume that you're coming out of the fog now because now you're noticing that this is not. You're noticing the intermittent reinforcement. Okay, these are the extreme highs and lows that the narcissist inflicts upon us. From the beginning of the relationship, we will always experience highs and lows, and this is done on purpose. I say this in just about every live. Yes, they have a mental health disorder. They do, but they know exactly what they're doing. They just choose to let the disorder go on. Yes, they are basically, so they understand everything that they're doing. That's why intermittent reinforcement actually works. Lady Trucklefoot, yes, I just walked away from a marriage. I was married to a narcissist that devalued and belittled me. Well, they're going to do that. And thank you for sharing that with us, Lady Trucker 44. They're going to do that. Again, there's two reasons why they do that. The narcissistic injury, you're just shining too freaking bright. They can't stand it, And the other thing is they need if they've already got their new supply to where they feel that new supply will sustain them. Oh, they gotta they gotta throw the knife in your back before they walk out the door. Mine's did that to me. Mine's tried to. You would think that I didn't deserve to have lungs to take in oxygen, listening to some of the things that they say. And I've got it all recorded. So, yeah, this is what they do. This is their MO. And don't worry about the new supply. At this point in the game, I'm giving the same energy. These love bombs really mean nothing. Well, Salone Campbell, 8495. Well, I understand where you're coming from. I do. I'm hoping that you're saying this because you exited the relationship. That's my hope. Um, it's much easier once you exit the relationship. But and I say this, I'm not saying this is your case. I'm not. So don't take this the wrong way. But it's many people's case. Stop thinking about them. Stop thinking about what they're doing, what they're attempting to do. Because believe it or not, it makes them feel that you're still locked to them. It does. It's any reaction, like, oh, you disgust me with this love. I know what you're doing. You're love bombing me. I'm hip to your game. When you do that, you actually give them a reaction. That's food for them. That makes them feel better because they feel that you are still attached to them. Another thing I say in just about every live, the narcissist thinks you're their pet. You're their pet goldfish. Okay? You're always going to be there waiting for them to put that food in the tank for them. Exactly. Don't give them any more energy. Gray rock is one of the best techniques. First of all, and again, this is another module in the course, okay? You have to find peace and give yourself time to heal. You do. You gotta. Oh, thank you, Angel. Thank you for joining. How you doing today? Hope you had a great weekend. You know, when you have to give yourself space to heal. The narcissist knows this. That's why they bug the shit out of you when you first get out. This is why they've always got a text to send you. That's why they always have something to say. Thank you, Angel. I'm well. Nice, great. That's why in the very, very beginning, because they want to keep you off balance. Something, let me clarify, I mean, a step back. Well, you got to work on getting out. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better. And I'm going to tell you something that I shouldn't know, but I can guarantee with 99.9% clarity, this is what's happening. Every time that you fall back and you say, okay, I'm going to give it another shot, it gets worse. I can almost guarantee that it gets worse. I'm in therapy now. Yes, they will text. No, yes, this is what they do. And again, I bring you back to the front of the ranch. They know exactly what they're doing. That's why it makes it so sick because I knew things would never change. That's yeah. Well, they have to watch your social media because they got it. Unlike the karate flicks, they're gonna make sure that you're dying by the side of the road, and they're gonna make sure because that's what they set out to do. It's no fun. I know I have flying monkeys that watch my lives. I don't care. They might be watching my life. I don't care. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to help other people. I have a non for profit that is built around this. 2 minutes down the road calls me. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's the thing. This is what we go through as survivors. We say, and I'm not making fun of anybody, because I've been there. Okay, okay. I'm going to give it another chance. I'm going to see where this turns out. That's the worst thing you can do. In hindsight, that was the worst thing I can do. I think the first time I told them that they had to leave my house, I should have stuck to my guns. Because in hindsight, looking back, it just became worse and worse and worse. Yes, the longer I stayed, the verbal abuse got worse, the lies, everything got worse. So run, yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're looking at this person as a normal, functional human being. That's what you look, and I get that. Oh, thank you for the roses, Lady Trucker. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. Yes, too much grace. That's what we're doing. And thank you for the roses. Thank you. That's what we're doing. I was just thinking about going back. This popped up. Well, again, let me clarify what I'm doing here. I'm not trying to tell people to step away from their relationship. Now, bear with me. What I'm telling people to do is to get clarity on their relationship, because no loving relationship should make you feel confused. I will stand on that. Okay? There should be no relationship where this is your partner, your mate, your husband, your wife, your fiance, that you should be confused about the dynamic. I tell people, just find more information about this disorder, because they're not going to change. I think I realized the last time that I tried to give them grace, I was like, that was the worst thing I could have did. What the hell am I holding on to? Because you literally become that slot machine. I don't know if anybody goes to casinos or anything, but when you find that hot machine, I don't know what they did in the back room, but you found that machine that is going to pay out. It seems like every amount of money you put in, you're doubling. When are you going to stop playing that machine? Think about it. You're going to play that machine until the damn button falls off. But here's the deal. This is how the narcissist looks at you. They're playing you until the buttons fall off, until you can't take it anymore, until you see through their mask. You, as an empath, are literally their personal slot machine. So think about that for a second. Every time you give this person that is supposed to love you, every time this person makes you feel confused, when this person has more bad things to say about you than they ever had good things. Okay, when this person isolates you, when this person there's no intimacy in the relationship, you think you're playing let's make a deal. So when you feel this way, I tell people, get freaking clarity. Because again, I don't think relationships are supposed to work that way. I could be wrong. Maybe relationships are supposed to be a huge stressful. Maybe relationships should be filled with chaos, but I don't want part of those relationships. Okay. Ship, thank you for joining. Marie, thank you. I appreciate you. And I appreciate you, all you guys, for joining. Ask me your questions. Like I said, I am here, and thank you, user 739, for following me. Intergenerational trauma healing. You know what? Thank you very much for saying that. Intergenerational trauma healing. And that came from Night Shift. Let me tell you something. And I say this often because I need people to understand this. If you've been going through life calling yourself the black sheep of the family, you have suffered through narcissistic abuse. Okay? That's all I can say. Big Shauna, no, it's not. I really don't know where you are going with that, but I'm interested to find out, how I can be of assistance with that. But yeah, many people, if you're walking around wearing it as a badge of courage, and I don't know why, you're wearing it as a badge of courage that you're the black sheep of the family. You have lived through narcissistic abuse. And I bring this up because most people don't know how far narcissistic abuse goes. Okay? If there are people in your family that are gaslighting you, if there are people in your family that are smearing your name for no freaking reason, you can't figure out why this person is talking about you. If you are confused, once again, in your family dynamic, because families, yeah, we all got a little dysfunction, but we're supposed to love each other at the end of the day, right? What do you think? Okay, if you find that you're in a power struggle with everybody else, if you feel that what you need to say, what you feel that you want to say, that your opinion should be valued just like everybody else, everybody's shooting you down. If you feel that when Thanksgiving comes around, you're not happy at all, because that means that you got to go to the family freaking dinner. There's something wrong there. And most people that come out of this black sheep dynamic, well, most of the people that come out this black sheep dynamic, they find themselves easily entangled in narcissistic relationships because the being the black sheep of the family, it doesn't start when you turn 13. It starts at a very early age. Somebody in your close immediate family just takes a dislike to you. They do. They do. I think my grandfather told me once, he was like, your mother treats you the way she does because you look just like your father, and now she blames you for him not being here. My father died when I was 2. Okay. It might be TMI, but I'm sharing. Um, so yeah, I mean, I became a black sheep of the family. I went through a lot of trauma. I went through a lot of abuse. And I think that's what shaped me into being the empath. Now, here's the thin line. There's the thin line literally between love and hate. Okay. If you notice, I said trauma at an early age. That's what actually forges and creates empaths. The same thing forges and creates narcissists. So there's always that thin line where the person that you want to be, that's why I say it's for the narcissist, it's voluntary. They're doing this shit because they want to. Okay, it's voluntary for them. Okay, so they choose to just go and hurt people because they're shame. They don't want to deal with that shit. No, I'm not dealing with that shit. This person did this to me, this person hurt me this way. F that. Everybody's gotta pay. The empath says, I went through a lot and it really hurt me. I don't want anybody else to go through this shit. That's the difference. That's the only difference. The empath tries too much. And since they are opposite sides of the coin, this is why the narcissist always seeks out empaths because they think in their mind that they have been put here to destroy the empath. The empath has been put here to feed them because they're both created from the same forge, the same fire. So this is why the narcissist seeks out empaths. As they're going through their early years, remember, they've been practicing this shit for decades. As they're going through their early years of life, the first time they walk into an empath, oh, jig is up. Why did my this and this is very true? I'm sorry if I missed all these comments. My doggone thing just froze. I don't know. But yeah, so what happens is, and I'm sorry, I'll catch up with these comments. You know, what happens is the narcissist, the empath becomes their favorite food group. It's like some cosmic battle, you know, and it depends on the empath not only getting clarity but breaking free. Because what this happens, and it's I can attest to this, and anybody that's here that has gone through narcissistic abuse can attest to it. It makes you stronger for some strange reason. For some strange reason, it makes you freaking stronger. I don't know why. And you know what? I would have not wanted to go through that shit to become stronger because it hurt me to my very core. Thank you, RS19, for sharing the live. I appreciate that. You know, given a choice, I didn't want to go through this shit. I can think of other things to do for the last 8 years. I really can. You know, I could have stayed by myself. I could have shit. I would have took more pictures with my photography before this eye went. I would have had a field day. And I think I'd have been a little bit stronger. But I think this is like some cosmic thing. It's like freaking gamma rays or neutron stars or something. It's just the way the universe works. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. But at the end of the day, the only thing that's needed from you to gain that strength, to gain that inner confidence back that you, excuse me, that you had before you met them, the only thing that is needed is for you to heal. Going through this right now, living with a monster, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Tabitha, you will make it. You will make it. Like I said, the reason why the subject of today's live is what it is because as soon as you stop trying to fix this person, as soon as you stop trying to fix a relationship that is draining you, it becomes easier to leave. Need more boundaries instead of trying to make them feel better. I've been stronger. Called me cold. Yes, because they hate freaking boundaries. They hate it. It's like kryptonite. They're like, boundary, no boundaries, please. How can you do that? I am entitled. How can you? How can you set a boundary? You know, Tato, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. And Jackie. They hate it. You set a boundary, you just ruin their whole freaking day. Right now, my son wants to, and I'm thinking you said end his relationship with his dad. Thank you for what his dad. Thank you, Mother Queen Libra, for sharing. Yes, they feel that they're entitled, and you setting a boundary. I have heard shit like nobody does that. I, my favorite. I speak to my friends all the time about this stuff that you're doing, and they say nobody does that in their relationship. Huh? Huh? So that tells me a couple of things. Once I got confirmation of what you were, that either your friends are just as toxic and dysfunctional as you are, or they're just your flying monkeys. Or, which is probably the most relevant answer, you're making this shit up to triangulate me to make me feel as if I'm doing something wrong. Again, as survivors, we can sit down and share war stories, and there will always be the same war stories, just another field of operation. That's all it is. When you think about it, you know, thank you. Yes, you're gonna make it to Tabitha. You're gonna make it. I like the way you said that. Well, Jess, because like I said, we've all survived it. We're just at different stages of healing. You know, and that's what we need to do. We need to heal. And another thing that I say constantly, I don't even know why people come back to my lives, but because I say a lot of stuff because I think it's important. You know, once you gain clarity and you realize that there was nothing you can do, and I know it hurts. I'm going to hold everybody's hand. Once you realize that there was nothing you could do, that none of the over explaining, none of the loving harder, none of ignoring the disrespect, none of ignoring the cheating, none of this, none of that, once you realize that it wouldn't have made a difference, hey Sherilyn, thank you. You know, once you let go of that, well, Sherilyn, that's why I made that course, and you don't have to get it. There's free audiobooks too. So, you know, it's not as hard as you think it is. It's with anything that you did in life. It really is. And I'm not trying to lessen what you experienced. That's not my goal here. But let me just bring a few facts up to you. Did you come out the womb learning how to drive? Probably not. And if you did, God bless you. Did you? Did you learn how to end conflicts when you were in school? You know, like your early years, like, you know, because you can't fight every day. You're going to get suspended every day. So you had to learn how to, you know, I got to stop all this conflict stuff. As a survivor of this, I'm praying for all victims here. You can and will survive. Yes, thank you for saying that, Mother Queen Libra. Thank you. But yeah, everything, part of the course is learning the patterns. The stuff that I'm talking about now is learning the patterns. Because for some strange reason, once you see the pattern, you start to understand what you've been dealing with. And once you see the pattern, you can break it. See, if you don't understand what the pattern is, you can't break it. I'm just learning about narcissism. 17 years. Well, you know, it happens. I went through three of these shits. It's just that the last one, this one was just like a piece of work. So I had to sit down and basically get life skill credits to get a degree on understanding this shit. I gotta stop cursing. I do. I really do. But yeah, the lack of communication is unmatched, and I don't enjoy peace. His daughter is watching. Yeah, I get that. I'm in the same boat as you. I've learned not to be drawn in because my children. I don't want them to see that. And thank you, Tracy Anderson, for following me. I appreciate you. I don't want them to feel that I'm unstable too. I don't want them to feel like, damn, we're messed up in the game. We know that she's unstable, but he's unstable too. We're lost. And not to point fingers, I just said that to make light of it. But I don't want them to feel like, you know, that all is lost. And I don't want them, I don't want them to be an empath, and I definitely don't want them to be a narcissist. Me too, choices, you think I'm one, but I'm not cheating like he is now with an APN line. Yeah. I mean, guys, can you help me out here? What hurts it? Does it? And here goes the puzzle, which means I gotta get off soon. But anywho, hold on 1 second. Let me solve this puzzle here. And it just disappeared. It told me that it's unable to verify me. Screw you, TikTok. Oh wow, they gave me fire. Okay, is it going to accept that? Because that was way off. Yeah. I'm going to get back to your question. Just bear with me as I do the TikTok puzzle, and I apologize. Okay, I think I got it. Boom. Okay. So, what hurts the most? And I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how I figured out how to get past this. Does the cheating, the lying, or the rewriting reality? What is or the silent treatment? What in people's dynamics actually hurts the most? And I need you to be honest, because I can answer each one to help you break free from that dynamic. Without you taking the course, I can literally give you some actionable advice to help you understand it, get clarity, and move the hell on. So what hurts you the most? Is it the cheating, the lying, the gaslighting, the isolation, and the silent treatment? I'll just wait for you guys to put that in. I mean, since this is a safe space, except for my flying monkeys. I don't think your flying monkeys care that you're in here. I think mine's do. But yeah. What do you think hurt the belittling? Well, Marie, let me answer that and let me help you out here. This person has a need to belittle you because they know inside there's nothing inside of them. Literally. This is not me talking. Go look it up. Okay, anybody with NPD, they belittle people to make themselves feel better. It's like my aunt used to say. They step on other people's necks to make themselves feel better. You got to wrap that around your head. The gaslighting. Well, the way that you get past the gaslighting is you do a few things. Here's a few suggestions. You actually, what you actually do is you keep notes. You download a recording app on your phone. You take voice notes. You actually sit down and just cover everything. Every conversation. I've got like 3 months of conversations in my phone right now that sit up on the cloud. And at first I thought it was crazy, but I tell people this all the time when I'm in Zoom meetings, is if you're confused in a relationship and you're trying to get clarity, if it's a real loving relationship, your partner will understand why you're doing it. They would want to be there for you. Belittling me in front of my daughter's earshot. Well, I'm going to tell you the easiest way to get past that. There must have come a stage where belittling you in private didn't get them the reaction that they wanted. So they need the reaction. Supply is literally like oxygen for them. Okay. They need the reaction. So they do it. So it's going to trigger you because in your mind, you're saying, what the hell? Our daughter is right there. Why would you say something like that? Why would you diminish their mother right in front of her? That's why they do this. So what you need to do is you need to just detach. Do the circus music in your head. Think about an old sitcom that you used to watch. Do anything, but you have to practice the art of not reacting. You will notice that it will ramp up for a little while, and then they'll just take another tactic. Regrettably, until you get out, that's just something else you got to work on. But what if I no longer speak to this man any longer, but I do share a child with him? Well, if you're under the same, here's the difference. If you're under the same roof, bam. If you share a child with them, you have to go with what I call yellow rock. You can't go gray rock, okay? You have to show it is not being completely unemotional. The reason why you do it is because I'm sure with your child, if they're not there with you, they're going to show them those messages and say, see what kind of person you're dealing with? They always twist the truth. They know why you're giving very little reaction. They know why you are being bland like vanilla ice cream. They know this. But what they're going to do is they're going to try to switch the narrative to make them the victim. Okay, so you have to and just look it up, Yellow Rock. And yeah, you just have to learn how to not react. That's all they're waiting on, and you have to mean it. Not to punish them, not to make them feel bad, not to make them feel like they've made you feel in the past. Really mean it. This person means nothing to me. Again, you got to let go of the ghost because if the homeless guy outside of the convenience store said that same exact thing to you, you would shake your head and just keep on about your business. You've got to get your narcissistic ex to that point where in your mind, they're that guy or that girl outside of the convenience store just saying stuff off the top of their head. Once you get to that point, it becomes easier. You know, yeah, I hope. Like I said, I dealt with this shit, and it was hard for me. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. It was hard. I was losing sleep. I was 2 seconds away, like 10 times a day, trying to think I'm gonna contact them because I can fix this shit. I can fix this. I missed them. Oh God. Then I hang up the phone. You know, and I did the social media thing. And I did that for 2 weeks, and I was like, let me see what they're doing. And then I stopped that because, I had to realize that this shit ain't helping me. Who has done this? Who has gotten out? Who has just recently gotten free? And you spend most of your day replaying the batshit conversations that you had with that person. Who does? What I had to realize is, and I think I read this in some site journal or something when I was doing research for a video. What you have to realize is, do you think the narcissist goes through this? Do you think that they miss you? Do you think that they are replaying conversations? Do you think they're losing sleep over you? Honestly, that's the question you have to ask yourself. You're the one losing sleep. You're the one twisting and turning. Told me I'm the one he'll not let me go or give up. Well, just, they need to reinforce that. Well, that's why it's called intermittent reinforcement. No gaslights me. Oh yeah, that's what they do. That's why I think the recordings like kind of brung that to a bare minimum. But I think by me admitting this is why I tell people just plan your exit on your own. You don't have to share that with them. No, they don't miss you. Why would they miss you? That would mean that they cared at some stage. At some stage of the relationship, in order for a person to meet you, they had to care just a little bit. The narcissist never cared. And this is what helps people move on. Just that's what they do to make you feel important and try to bring you down. You are right, Omnipotent Queen. You got to go live with me sooner or later. I'm gonna force you to go live with me. But yeah, this is again. It makes it so nefarious because they do it on purpose. They're aware of every step that they're taking. They're aware when they've got you on the ups. They're aware when they've got you on the extreme lows. They're aware when they're belittling you. They are aware of when they are making you feel like, God, why am I even here? The confusion is part of the long con. And that's why I tell people, there are people, again, I've been in Zoom calls where if I wasn't on camera, I would just do a face plant, you know. Like I said, I've had people that have gone back 3 times. And until I bring it to their attention that, thank you, Saved by Grace, for real. Thank you for following me. You know, and until I bring it to their attention that, you know, didn't it get worse when you went back? So why'd you pick another time to go back? I always hear basically the same thing. I thought it would get better. I thought they finally understood. Understood what? That they were torturing you? They knew that from day one. It's crazy how they act in public. Well, they have to. They have to protect their mask. That's what the narcissist cares about. The mask. They don't care about you. They care about how others see them in public. Because it's easier to give that grandiose vibe to someone that really doesn't know them. You know, oh, you guys are going fast and furious. They usually say that right before they went ghost. Yes, I dealt with all this, so it seems like I'm an expert now. Well, most of us do become experts. And let me say some names. And thank you, excuse me, Mister, for joining. Renee J. Yeah, it does. And I'm glad that you've taken the first step that many survivors do not take. Many people get out of the relationship. And again, they paint it as a normal relationship. If you're over 30, you've been through most likely more than one relationship. And you understand that breakup, you hurt for a few days. You know, you hurt for a few days. This person, you know, you look over at your bed, you're like, they're not here anymore. And you know, you feel bad, and I get it. But at the end of the day, that's because you cared. Once you understand that this piece of shit never cared anything about you, but how they could get you to emotionally jump through hoops, idolize them, make them feel important, and make them feel that they were superior to you, shit, you serve no purpose. In fact, the days that you didn't do enough in any of those arenas, they went and found somebody else that would do exactly that for them. You know, it's like a freaking X file. There's always missing time with a narcissist. Always. It's like, you know, it's like UFO survivors say, I noticed you was missing time. Yeah, it's always with the narcissist. Yes, Renee J, yes, I did feel bad. Only optics and the opinions of others. Yes. Yes, this is a thank you, Manipulative Queen. You know, it is optics. It's smoke and mirrors. It is a way so that they go through life with people believing the batshit delusion that they have created in their head. That's all that matters to them. Because see, if people buy into the illusion, if people buy into the unrealistic version that doesn't exist of them, it pushes the shame down. It makes them feel as if they're important. That's what they do. That's what the mask is all about. The mask serves two purposes. The mask serves the purpose of entrapping you because you brought into that shit hook, line, and sinker. Then the mask becomes a mirror. You start reflecting what they need to see. That's when the love bombing lasts until that stage, until you start feeling like something is freaking off. The hell is off about this? There's something wrong here. You're starting to come out the fog. Renee J, that's what they want you to feel low. So when the little come, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right, Infinite Queen. You know. So what happens is when you start seeing through the fog, that is when the initial love bombing stops. That's when you start to see through their mask because you stopped reflecting what they wanted you to reflect. They can smell the confusion on you. So what they do is now it becomes intermittent conditioning. This is where the gaslighting stage has just ended. The love bombing stage, the mirroring has just ended because you're starting to be confused. So what they do is now you're going to get the silent treatment. Now they're not talking to you. Now there's nothing that you can do is right. Now they're reacting like somebody lit a fuse up under their butt every time you utter a sentence. They're doing that because within a week, a day, 2 days, a month, they're going to love bomb you again. What this does to your nervous system and your brain, it acts like a gambling addiction. You're actually waiting for a win. You're waiting for this person to come back to what you saw in the beginning. They do this on purpose. And then when they got you, they come and they give you a hug. Oh my God, I missed you. I don't know what happened. Why would you stop speaking? And you're like, because you stopped speaking to me. You know, oh my God, come on, let's make up. Let's make up because and you feel like you got that person back. But you didn't. They did that on purpose. And then once you get past that, what they're going to do is what next time Olympic Queen, you're coming on live with me next. I'm going to send you a message because you're helping maybe more than I am. But yeah, you know. But yeah, so you then you get the lows again. Now you're walking around the house, you're bummed out, they're treating everybody better than you, they're acting like you're that brown stuff at the end of the stick, and you're saying, what happened? And you're blaming yourself. That's the sick part about it. You are blaming you. You're not blaming them, the one that's causing this. You're blaming you. And you're trying to find ways to make up. And you're going, well, what's wrong? Baby, what's wrong? Did I do something to you? I apologize for whatever I did because you can't take this. This is driving you up the wall. And just when you said there's nothing I can do, I can't help them. Here they come again. Oh, I don't even know what happened to us. We haven't been speaking in like 2 weeks. What have you been up to? Deep down inside, I missed you. That's how it happens. That's where they build this thing where you always have hope. Where you always have hope. You have hope that this person can be the person that presented themselves to you in the very beginning of this shit show. And it's only you holding on to the hope. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you, Ash on the Edge. Thank you. This is what you're holding on to. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate you. So, yeah. So, and can I say something? If you're over 30, you wouldn't give this much hope to another human being. Let's be honest here. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. They're looking for a secret to hold over your head. Well, that was the data mining. That was in the beginning. Did you notice at the end of the relationship that you really knew nothing besides surface level of your partner? I mean, really. None of the stories were fleshed out. None of the things, those moments when you were laying on the pillow and they were asking about your fears and the things that you wanted in life and your goals and your dreams and your nightmares, that they never really shared anything with you. I don't, let's be honest, agree. Thank you, Jess. She said I'm too old for this. But yeah, did you notice that you don't know anything about them? Just surface levels. Shit that you know about the person that you grew up with in the same building, but you wasn't really friends. That's surface level shit. They do that on purpose. Do you know what they're doing? They're collecting data. They're trying to find out as much about you. I mean, you sitting on the pillow just pouring out your heart. You talking about the first time you got a spanking, the first time you did something that was even slightly illegal. You're telling everything, okay? And they're not telling you shit, believe it or not. They're just being, oh, that's what happened to you. Oh my God, now I understand you a little bit better. Yeah, because that's all stuff they're going to use against you at a later date. And you've got, even if you was petty like that, you've got nothing to use against them. You don't even know who this person is deep down inside. Thank you for the likes, everyone. DTR say left and asked myself, why did I truly love her? It was all hope. Renee J, he tries to hold on to me because we have a son together. Yes, user 739, they are gathering intel and ammo. Here's the deal, and I got to get off. But I got to tell you guys this one thing, and I want you, no, seriously, pay attention. Pay extreme attention. Your love was real. Stop blaming yourself for loving this person. Your love was real. You were giving of yourself. You got trapped because your love was real. You were trying to do the real thing for this person, by this person. I get that. I love you for it. Okay? I said this in the beginning of this live, you are not responsible for another person's actions, feelings, or emotions. You can only do what's good for you. With that information, the way that you heal is you stop bringing this person into the equation. At the end of the day, you now know that their main goal is to hurt you. Anybody that hurts you again and again and again and again, I'm gonna kind of vote that was their goal. I'm voting that was their goal, was to hurt you. And they're not gonna change that goal. So what you need to do is you need to start feeding into yourself. You need to stop replaying conversations. You need to stop losing sleep. You need to, it's happened a few times to me, waking up in a cold sweat because you're dreaming about this person. Because your mind is trying to balance everything out. It's like, dude, we can't go back to him or her. What the hell for? They're going to destroy us. So what I need you to do, the child is a tool. It'll always be a tool because people are people to the narcissist. So what I need you to do, you don't have to take my course. It's there. Okay, I think it's in my profile bio. I think I say that without getting flagged for that. Yeah, there's the directions to the course are there in my bio. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Just get some clarity, get some research. I tell this to people every day. Get a copy of the DSM-5, print it out, put it in your pocket, and every interaction you have with the narcissist, you see how many you can check off. If you check off 5, you've got clarity. You do. Okay? I want everybody to heal. Yes, peace is priceless. And yeah, that's it's painful because you gotta get up and go to work and do stuff, and then you're just like tired, and then you get back home, the sleep schedule's off, you eat dinner and go sleep. It's not good. It's not good. So yeah, that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to stop anguishing over this person that didn't care about you from the very beginning. Okay? Hold on to that reality. Oh, thank you, Ashley. Thank you. I appreciate you. You know, if you want to take the course, like I said, there's like the directions are in my bio, so you can just click and start it. And don't rush through it. Don't rush through your healing, no matter what direction you choose to take. Don't rush through your healing. Take time. You didn't get conditioned in a day, so you're not going to heal in a day. Okay, you didn't get conned for a day, so you're not going to heal in a day. Okay, so take your time and be graceful with yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. You just did the human thing. You just did it with a demon. That's all I can say. I want to thank you all for joining Nip and the Queen. You go next with me. You go live with me next. I don't know how I'm going to make you do it, but 2 o'clock, one of these days, you're going live. Okay. Renee, thank you for joining. Everybody that joined, everybody that interacted with me, I definitely appreciate you guys. I'll be back tomorrow at 2. Okay, bring your questions. It's more fun when we have questions because it actually makes me feel like I can be of assistance. With that being said, keep healing, stay powerful, and I do everything that I do. Love you guys, except the cursing. I gotta stop that. I really gotta stop that. It's going to end. It just won't end. It's crazy.